Well, welcome once again. If you would like to find me on my website, there's a QR code for all the additional information. As a quick reminder, every single Feng Shui Connect Zoom conversation has been recorded, and you can find under the archive, which is scheduled on the website. Just a quick reminder again, my beginnings of the logo as a reinforcement has been now it's been 3 years since the logo has been improved and developed, and you might see some correlation that I envision, not only symbology of the Chinese coin, but also as the eclipse of the sun and moon eclipse and the earth and the Chinese coin. So I want just to integrate your imagination also in your own future designs or logo like you're creating. Today, we're going to be talking about astrology for May, June, and July, and the chi notes, this 7th and 8th and 9th chi notes. So as you know, in the Taoism, we follow the 24 chi notes that kind of indicates the certain aspect of how the seasons change. And we just finished a day ago, one of the chi notes that was more balancing and related to the earth element. And we started the summer begins chi note with some yin fire, then a yang fire, and then soon to be also be a summer solstice by end of June. I also gonna be sharing, I studied King Charles III birth chart and looking at some of the aspects, how timely for King Charles to become a king. So it was very interesting to look at his chart and his qualities. And as well, I have been blessed with work. I've been quite busy. So I will share a few images of the Feng Shui projects that I have just about finishing, and give you also the schedule of the lucky dates. And if there's any questions, you'll feel free to ask. So this is something that I know people love to take a snapshot or take a photo. And this particular year, this particular season. So these are the dates that I would consider if you have a short-term or long-term plans or some important plans or some important dates. Then in May, like today, the May 7th was very auspicious, especially with the start of the Oracle to today. Yeah, it was just more like not do much, but have an insight and feel to it. These days I would highly recommend to be used, and of course depends on your personal chart, but these are in general very good days for Feng Shui, for contract signing, for managing with money, maybe sometimes also planning the larger events. So please do take that into the account. All right. So as we know, when we talk about Feng Shui, when you're meeting, we always consider certain things. No matter how the time goes by, we consider it's a Ganyin principle, when we look at the 3 aspects in any person's life. How timely it is, that's a heaven chi. Our personal capacity, that's human chi. And then the physical location, your home, your land, your community and country, that's the earth chi. And everything is cyclical and reappearing. So when we are looking at our personal capacity, our chart correlates to the 12 animals, 5 elements, and yin and yang. And then we can also look at the same quality of the year and see how where we are in the chart in that regard. For example, at the moment, we are in a month of the dragon. So the month is ruled by dragon. The next one will be ruled by snake. And then after that by horse chi. So even though we are in a water rabbit year, that there's certain influence on either through the chi notes or through the monthly, we call the earthly branches, that gives like some sort of a flavor to the year. I don't know how many, but last few weeks we were we were in the month of we were in the months of dragon and still kind of carrying that on. I hope you were observant enough for the month of the dragon, because that also gave you some indication how the next year, the 2024, might gonna be. So make your notes, do the journaling, really be observant, and probably for a lot of us, the double months of the rabbit that was in the March, at the end of the February, March, could possibly be a little bit too emotional or too vivid in a sense, how am I feeling? And maybe anticipating at the beginning, maybe it was very easy, like almost like early spring. And as you know, there was a beautiful cherry blossoms, at least here in California, the really nice season, even with the rains in between, just gave a very mixed feeling. But towards the second month, like a double months of the rabbit, that probably anticipated a little bit more like a wonder or worry. And that is the rabbit's paranoia of like, what if? It's almost like, what if? So grass is green, but what if? So that was instantly reset after we entered into the month of the dragon. And that was completely different dynamic. I really hope you noticed that. I personally, I have noticed that it went with a very, very broad traveling of finalizing the Feng Shui consultations, gathering the new Feng Shui consultations, kind of a busy, but it had to be also expressed in a sense of the settling into the space, having more profound and precise decision making was the key. And like, instead of the anticipating, what if, what rabbit might say, this was the like another notch of like saying, you know what, this feels good. Whatever felt good, take a note to that. If it felt good, you want to mark it and kind of put it on a kind of a highlight shelf for the 2024, because we are expecting the year of the 2024, which is the wood dragon year, with these kind of nuances, the ideas, new visions, new profound like kind of implementation in the new self to just step up your visions and possibilities. So this diagram kind of gives you a little bit of the notion where we are in the month of the dragon snake, and you can see the Tai Chi symbol in the center, right close to the horse months. That's going to be we experiencing the summer solstice, and that will be like one of the pivotal, as you know, the year pivots in 4 times. So in the winter solstice, summer solstice will be right opposite to the December, and we're going to be experiencing, the peak of the sun. This particular year, this particular season, I would say, I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen on May 9th, especially what's going to happen in the war zone between Russia and Ukraine. Because even though the month of the May is the yin fire, so that could it could go either way. As we know, the 9th of May is also post-Soviet Union, big celebration day of their victory during the World War II. And who knows what they're going to trigger. They're going to trigger and anticipate anything in such a nature. That kind of flicker of fires, is like when we flick the match, or that could also intensify the situation. But I really, really hope, and I keep the prayers and keep the overall kind of observing overall a notion to be in the more quieter side. And hopefully Mr. Putin's chart or his natal capacity is so depleted that he might not pull the trigger. Well, yesterday, as you know, the May 6th. So this is for the chart of the May 7th. And you see the consult today is the Oracle. So this is a beautiful day for us to consult. It also indicates the first Chino, the summer beginning. And look at my notes right here. So what are we anticipating? I was thinking, like, what was it a good, or, what was the good day for King Charles III to become a king? And before I look at his chart, I want to also look the Feng Shui of this particular Buckingham, like what do we see from the Buckingham Palace. Those who see this image, I thought is really, really profound. This is the first time when the king and the queen are stepping on the balcony and greeting all the public. But then you can see that also there's a beautiful trinity. And those who can follow me on a drawing, you can see, so there's a king and a queen, right? And then there's a divine trinity. To the memorial, and then the circular form as the formation of it is, I thought this is definitely very, very interesting, very auspicious in such a composition. Even further, when I'll show you another image, when we look at the Buckingham Palace itself, right, when the triangle forms, you can see the land formation. I'm gonna looks from the Google Earth as a really something that holds a sword. So imperial kind of a sword in its blade, and has a extremely meaningful meanings along the side. So if you use your imagination and we apply in Feng Shui, it's beautiful way to almost like this part where the actual Buckingham Palace sits and resides with the courtyard. It's almost is the hand where the holds the sword, the end of the sword. It's very earthy. It's like holds in a fist. And then the part, I hope you can see what I'm drawing. So this part right here is like holds the arm, and this is like protects the hand, right? And at this point, we are viewing from the balcony, we're viewing the direction. I mean, obviously, this time I was not there, but the direction is compass direction is between northeast 3 and east 1 as a rising sun. And I thought this also was very auspicious for either of if it's in between the palace of northeast 1 and northeast 3 and east 1, it could be auspicious for either, especially I think there was a very easy, is more appropriate, was a more supportive for Queen in the past for 70 years to be supported at the Buckingham Palace. So these change with the period 9 is also very effective. And as you know, the period 9 is going to begin 20-year cycle in 2024 with the year of a dragon. So this is going to be a very beautiful way of kind of starting the new decade with a new setting for the King Charles. Let me share, I was fascinated about his chart as well. I'm gonna erase these markings. So King Charles was born on November 14th of 1948 at 9:14 p.m. And if you're looking at his natal capacity, he was born in the year of the Earth Rat, hour of the pig, month of the pig, but the day of the rabbit, or water rabbit. What fascinated me was his numbers, like Feng Shui score, element score, with water 8. I mean, that is quite a, I would say, a person, and definitely very deep and maybe possibly quiet. And as a personality of the Water Rabbit Daymaster for King Charles, I think I understand now. I understand better his quieter demeanor, maybe also maybe less outspoken, very genuinely approachable, but it just definitely quiet. So his trust and the way he could trust is going to really take some time, because with the rabbit energy, rabbit chi daymaster, you're almost kind of having a hidden qualities. You will never know what they feel, what he feels, what he thinks, because it's hidden. It's also like a self-protecting quality that the water rabbit embodies. So I was not surprised after looking at his Shui, his water element is 8 to its max. I really hope that he is kind of keen now to also read more about his biography and his kind of like, you know, what is maybe his memoirs, and see how that would express. Very particular and detail oriented. But when you look at his destiny, or what is his way of, you know, what's really is given for him to become a father was very important. And also to finding the reflective or committing to a spouse is very important in his life. The changes in the proper, like changes in commitments, that when he says it was obvious and it was harsh, especially during the times after Princess Diana's and before Princess Diana's, and everything that was created to his Korean travels, we'll see Oracle Star. Never really like, you know, he could have been he had a profound way to use the Oracle Star, this his gut feeling, his intuition. But I hope really with the years or his mature time, this is a really will be very, very auspicious application. And I think this is a really great time for him to become a ruler, to become the king. Where it confirmed was when I looked at his life chart. So he just 2 years ago, he started his Ming Palace with Emperor, and like, you know, whatever he's been taught, whatever he's been exposed, this is the most timeless time for king to become, for Charles to become a king. When you look back, you know, like what's happened in his 50s, with his 40s, and with his 30s. I think that between 30s and 40s, when all the commotion that happened with Princess Diana, and kind of him being really kind of undermined, is also, it reflects in his chart with the general priestess and Shisha. I also looked at that, to losing the spouse, losing the partner in 96 was right exactly when his spouse palace had a greedy wolf, like was supposed to be kind of taking away, and the change has been taking place. Then his reconnection and coming back, or maybe announcing his spouse, his Kamel, was in his 50, 54, 63 when he really stepped out. That was also last decade. And as I said, it was very interesting how it reveals to the public, and how the patterns of his life shows. I'm looking forward. I think he's finally at his age where he's going to be 76 this year based on Chinese. I mean, he's going to be 75, but looking at his chart for the Ming Palace and also for the next palace, he has an amazing opportunity of 20 years to rule and maybe fulfill like legacy of the Queen Elizabeth. So that we can see that the ancestral palace is absolutely a kind of, you know, if he does respect and follows the ancestral chi, there was going to be tremendous support or resetting of that predisposition of karma. There's nothing vicious, there's nothing I would say there's nothing bad, no bad karma. This is also interesting that 2 years ago, he started this decade. And guess what? Probably in a transitional time between the Queen Elizabeth, that was a transitional probably preparation time for her to step down or to release and talk to Prince about taking this taking the steps to it. Okay. Well, this is my next slide was actually this is one of the latest projects that I'm finishing with one of the business offices. And one, I'm just showing some of the elements that how we integrate and how important are the mirrors. Like in here, the mirrors stand. I have the large circle mirror, but it's right across from this perfectly square window. And what's beautifully, what happens when as you enter from a different angle, we create this Chinese coin, beautiful alignment, but it also generates the light in the side of the office building that is not exposed. In general, adding the plants, it completely changed. This is also envisioned something that was very ordinary white. Everything was ordinary white. We designed by adding accent color, creating the zones of separation with the planters, adding the new furniture that is more versatile, like a swivel chairs and standout couch. So this became quite a beautiful setting for the employees. Speaking of Feng Shui, and just a quick reminder that this particular year, we would like to embrace and be very aware of north and south directions. And I brought one of the examples. I have a client in Lake Tahoe, and with this configuration, especially waiting for upcoming 2024 for the next 20 years, opening and doing all the renovations that we have been working on this project and creating the open space and extending the deck, especially into the south. This becomes quite an extraordinary opportunity for this property to thrive. So I just want to bring you an example of how not only Feng Shui by form, but also when we study and get the inspiration from the flying stars, like in this case, 99, it becomes very, very auspicious for this particular client. So you can visit your properties, and this particular year, as a quick reminder, we have abundance and wealth stars in the south, and also very fortunate stars in the north. So maintain those areas, inherit those areas, have abundance, have abundance. If you are East Group person, use by sitting or facing in those directions, especially, or visit, especially of the outside. If you have any windows, this is the year when you want to have a very clear view, clean windows, clear view to those directions, not only to those directions, but also in general, clean windows. The year of the rabbit is also relates to the eyesight. And as you know, for any house or any building, the window is the eyesight. It's kind of what correlates to it. So that was a part of the presentation. And we can have an open discussion, or I wanted to talk a little bit more particularly about the chi nodes and how important is this particular month of May, end of May, June, and July. As we enter the month of with the yin fire, and then it's going to follow with the yang fire. It's the current time frame when everything is flowering, everything like seeds are bursting open. The true energy of the time frame has ascending, as like the yang chi is ascending. It's open. It's we can see in nature. I was just these couple of days in a row was walking in in Los Gatos, and also was visiting Hakone Gardens, and went also to Carmel just to see how dynamic, how the roses, how the flowers, how the wildflowers are just expansively, genuinely like opening up and sharing their fragrance, their beauty. So that is inspirational. But we don't want to burn out, just like you thinking that it's forever. So what I would like to inviting you is also take the advantage of this yin fire, the inspirational energy that we have at this very moment, and put that to work. For the next couple, this week, this coming week, while we still also have a few more days of Dragon Month in a year of a rabbit, be mindful and dream big because it made things happen. In addition, why I'm saying that, for example, those who may know, might not know, but my move to Europe and still staying more committed to California and traveling back and forth the next few years, it's related to expanding my education, expanding my opportunities, worldwide opportunities. And it's exciting. Obviously, it's very exciting. But at the same time, I might have my rabbit chi somewhere lingering, and could create a sense of paranoia. So the paranoia is a weakening your intentions. So how can we deal with that? And one of the ways is to write down your commitment. Write down your commitment. Let's say, for example, I have made a decision that we are moving. So it's a very simple decision. So I'm not questioning anymore, shall I move or not? Shall I go or not? Shall I move or not? Because that type of pattern, it's instantly going to be depleting. So you can start observing what is something in your life that's pivotal, that you're looking forward in next year, and making sure that you're not depleting your sight or your inspiration because of the undecisiveness or paranoia to it. One other useful thing to have during this time frame is to have two decisions. Make sure you have, what if, have a plan A, and what if, have a plan B. So when you and make sure that those both plan outcomes are in your favor. Let's say if somebody is looking for a new job and does not get hired, then they have a plan B. It's like, well, I was thinking to start my own business. So you can simultaneously, well, if I don't get hired, I'm going to start my own business. So it's a still win-win situation. For example, those who are in a position of maybe changing homes or moving, the same thing. It's like, what if the house doesn't sell? That's fine. If the house sells, that's okay. So you want to have a solution that is agreeable and it gives you support, like energetical positive support in either way of case scenario, so that you don't deplete. So the chi the chi dissipates very quickly. As soon as let's say if we get upset with no reason, we probably waste a week of your practice, that you doing the yoga hikes and everything else, and you are kind of charging your battery than with one upset or one of the burst of energy. You can deplete that instantly. Why would we do that, right? So as mindfully reminding you, this year is about to create these opportunities that you can manifest, prepare for them, that you can use and manifest in 2024. The months to take a kind of easy or have a little bit of the break and I think that will give you this like a good push during the beginning of summer, during summer, is towards the August. So August would be the time when you want to enjoy more leisure and maybe connect more to the feelings. Like this half of the year is going to be already over, and you just want to maybe journal and read back to your, what don't go is like, well, I spent this and that. So you don't want to be too rooster or too announcing too quickly things about, you know, your life experience or something achievement, but try to have a more modest sense of self-reflecting and really go yin. So calming down, yin, not this is a time when you reconnect with very, very close friends, because during the month of the rooster, guess what? The rabbit and the loyal dog is the way to mediate the situation. So go back to maybe create the family reunions in July and August, connect to your ancestral energy, be less argumentative, and have maybe enjoy more concerts and leisure and more places and ways that inspire your heart, that you don't have to really think about what if. Okay. I don't know if there's any questions. I still want to. Yeah.
I had a question, Ailita. So down here, I was going to buy like a traveling Buddha, and then I was looking at articles, and they're like, you're supposed to have your Buddha in certain directions, facing certain ways, facing the door. And so I know in the past when you've asked, well, why did you buy the Buddha? What are you bringing? Because it's, you know, it means respect and everything. So my front door, I don't remember the direction, all that stuff. So just the position of the Buddha, just because
your door is east, in the east.
Okay, my door is east. But so then east, north. Okay.
Your house is facing, because I remember your property, your house is facing,
right? My house is facing where?
Your house is facing east. And so you want outside.
But you know how the door is hidden? You know?
Yeah, but it's the thing is, whoever comes in, it comes in as approaching your door from the east direction.
Okay. So I just bought a Buddha. So I'm gonna put the Buddha facing east, facing people coming in. So I'm gonna be happy.
Yes, and it's also welcome if it's a standing, because the sitting Buddha that will be more appropriate will be towards something that you meditate area. So I don't conflict the situation.
Okay, so don't put a sitting Buddha in front of the door.
No.
Well, unfortunately, this is a sitting Buddha.
Well, then you can use the sitting Buddha in front of your sliding door where you have your seating area, your patio.
Okay, all right. So she will be there with Kuan Yin. Okay, I got it. Just, yeah, okay. All right, and put a standing Buddha. Okay.
Yeah. For example, Ganesh, you cannot have, I know there's some restriction for Ganesh. It's not welcome if Ganesh faces south, for example.
Yeah.
That brings fire.
Okay.
And I did have a client who had a fire in their house in 2021, unexpected. And when I was there, then the Ganesh was outside.
How long have you been retired?
Yeah. No Ganesh statues.
Not facing south. Yeah. Sometimes it's really helpful if you this is a Google, find out, okay, what is the direction for, you know, for specific Buddha that you don't conflict, and we can also private message me, and I'll be happy to respond to that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So so regarding the Chi notes, I want to comment a little bit more, especially for upcoming I'm gonna read this from my notes, from my teacher's notes. Okay, summer begins. So it's like right now is the best time is also in the morning, 9 a.m. So if you're planning to practice of anything facing south or facing at 9 in the morning, it's auspicious. So it adds energetical value. Summer begins, the young that was trapped in the earth, like in the winter, is now full-fledged and in the sky. The sun shines brightly, hawks soar, frogs croak, and earthworms are abundant. Thought young has nearly matured, it may still be impulsive. So impulsive quality, that I said, like next week, the May 9th is gonna really show what is the Soviet post-Soviet Union, what the Putin is about, and we'll see how does that gonna affect worldwide. So it says, if the weather, our conduct is not seasonal, storms can be destructive to crops. Again, if we are not mindful, if we are too harsh, this is where the seed itself has already anchored, has already made a turn, is grounded, and is turned and it appears above the earth. So it's all the opportunity. But if I snap that, if I kind of snap a break that the seed, the potential, it's not just like it's not even promise. It's already mature potential. So if I kind of say now suddenly, you know what, I'm debating my move, I'm not moving, guess what I'm doing to energetically? I'm depleting myself because I just spent so much effort and so much time of reevaluating, what is that going to be? What is my new upcoming year is going to look like? So when we talk about summer begins, it's like an unskilled soldier anxious to prove himself on the battlefield. So this is what we want to avoid. We don't want to be overassertive. I think almost like also observing yesterday, King Charles' coronation and stuff, and his way of giving his promise or giving his commitment. And in his way of how he sounded, there was deep earth qualities of energy. There was not gigglish, or there was some, the internal responsibility was noted during that time. Then the following keynote is grain sprouts. That's when the yang energy is going to be expanding, so that the yin fire chi is going to be more yang chi. What does that mean? So if we would be focusing on something like sunlight, the candlelight, or just turning the candle on, that type of energetical value is changing to something like a bright fireworks or the sunlight, daylight, something that you cannot change. That means, let's say if you announce announcing I'm moving, so it's already, the words are shining. Something also, for if we think about from graduations, there's a lot of graduations going to take place during the May and June. How timely that is, because that's announcing I am graduated. So there's achievement, there's a certain sense of pride. It's a short-lived, but it still genuinely is appealing. So it's kind of short-lived, almost like reaching the Olympics and ready for the next decision-making process. So that is when during the month of June, the energy is going to be more mature. So when you graduate of some sort, you're taking the load of responsibilities. It takes a less impulsive quality to become steady and is disciplined. So a lot of, like, my children, both boys, gonna be in college this summer. And this is like their own responsibility, the mode independence. That's important. That's important to treasure that. It's important to honor that and to guide that, but not to question. So questioning is weakening the prince or potential. So we want to we also don't want to exaggerate. It just has to be very what you see, what you get. It has to be very realistic approach to it. It says the prince leads his first successful campaign. What were fertile fields now show sprouts. The promise is strong. Trees and shrubs flourish. There is a small fullness. The sage gather herbs from mountains in peace. Some early fruits are harvested. So this is everything that we are doing prior this summer solstice. Okay, so you will notice in the farmer markets here, I mean, at least in California for sure, looking forward, it's going to be a time for the, first cherries and peaches and apricots, right? That's towards the end of the, mid-June, end of June. This will be so timely. The strawberries is going to be very, very, to its peak, based on their qualities. And then when we have seed ripens Chi node, great, that is going to be, so when talk about both seeds and food, when a grain ripens, develops, it's bared. Food stores are renewed and seeds for next year are also secured. So if you are in a process, as I am now, in a decision making, and we are still in a month we're still in a few days in a month of dragon, pay attention to your plans, because those plans and how you implement, it's gonna reflect in 2024, or gonna give the opportunities for you to either refine your choices or plan better. And it has to happen, like not based, how it looks on a paper based on a number game, but how does it deep inside feels? Feeling. Remember, no matter what, it is about how we feel, not what we know, not what we think, but how we feel. So this is the way to still cultivate and use the year of the water rabbit by reflecting, journaling, expressing the feelings, connecting to your loved ones, reconnecting to, let's say if you have close friends, then reconnecting those ties with the, really establishing, because we are gonna be busy next year. We're gonna be running around, so we wanna create a very solid base. And this is collectively, this year is about, how do you feel about where you're at? How do you feel with who you are together? Like, who is with you? And also the timing. How does it feel that, are we ready? Are you ready? And it's okay to procrastinate a little bit. It's okay. If it's a one day back or forth, it's okay. It's a year of a rabbit. There's no punishment. You can't really leap too far. The dragons can make big decisions, in a wrong way. But the rabbits, I think this gives you a little bit more playfulness and gentleness this year. So don't be afraid to make mistakes or be concerned, or being concerned about I'm late. How does that feel? That's all it matters. Well, that was our 2023 May Feng Shui Connect presentation, and I'll be happy to if there's any questions or any other nuance, I'll be happy to